Good evening, everybody, councillors and members of the public, and welcome to this Sandwich Town Council. It's actually a quarterly meeting. The papers say ordinary meeting, but it's a quarterly meeting of Sandwich Town Council on Monday the 27th of November 2023. I'm saying the date for the camera, so the camera knows about that. Item number one is Chair's opening remarks. I've only got a couple because some of the people that I had remarks for aren't here this evening. And the first one is access to Guildhall staff. And you've had an email about this, but I need to reiterate it. If you need to see the town clerk or any of the staff in the Guildhall, you must make appointments. It's causing quite a lot of problems with councillors or members of the public just dropping in and stopping them from doing the work that they're working on. So, and if you need to speak to any of the other staff, could you do that via the town clerk so that the town clerk can make sure that they get the right member of staff for you to talk to. No drop-ins on the day, no have you just got 5 minutes, and no it won't take long will be accepted. So anybody turning up now at the Guildhall office on spec will be turned away. The second item I wanted to raise was about Pfizer's, and it was just to say that as I said in my press release, I've been following up about the concerns at the Pfizer's organisation over at Discovery Park. I've written to, personally myself, to the head of KCC, who's got back to me. I've written to the head of Dover District Council, who was meeting with the senior management last Thursday, and I did send communications through to the leader of Dover Thanet District Council as well, but I didn't hear back from them at all. And I've also been in touch with the MPs about the matter. The whole issue is in very early stages because there's over 100 staff that are affected. There's a 45-day consultation period. So at the moment, there isn't a lot of actual actions taking place to do with this matter until the 45-day consultation's going ahead. Last Tuesday, I had a meeting with the senior managers and the head of site for Pfizer's, and they discussed their plans and options. The whole matter has come across, it's not been a local matter from Sandwich, it's come from their head offices over in America, and the decision's been made due to financial costing and forecasts post-COVID. So a certain unit called the PSSM will be closing down, and members of staff will be either relocated or redeployed, but all efforts will be made to make sure that the staff get help and advice before they leave the company. Thank you very much. And then the last thing was to do with the matter of the drill hall. And I don't think I'd raised this at the last meeting, but myself and the town clerk met with the owners of the drill hall, and we had a very nice meeting. If you weren't aware, the drill hall had been put up onto the open market for sale, and there was a few queries and questions. So in order to facilitate some transparency in it, we had a meeting with the owners, and it was more a testing of the market to see what's happening there. But they did say if they did get the offer that they were looking for, that they would make sure that it was as a going concern and that the business would not close down and there would not be any loss of jobs to any of the staff there either. So it's just literally a transfer of the ownership on the drill hall there. So thank you very much. I'll just mention this is a place of business, so this evening I don't want any personal comments, so can we just keep it to the business of the agenda, and where possible one question. If you need a second or supplementary question, then you will have to be at my discretion. Thank you very much. Item number 2, apologies for absence received. I don't know if you had those at all, did you?
Yeah, apologies received from Councillor Pennington, who's unwell, Councillor Marie, who has work commitments, and Councillor Gray.
Super, thank you very much for those. Were there any other apologies? That's good. Okay, item number 3, declarations of interest, and this is to receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on this agenda tonight. Does anybody have any declarations for the agenda tonight? Okay, that's none. Thank you. Item number 4, minutes of the full council meeting, and this is to approve the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Sandwich Town Council held on the 30th of October 2023, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes that are not covered elsewhere in this agenda, and this is attachment 1A. So do we have any queries or questions on this? Councillor Chuka, please stand.
Just going to mention there are a number of outstanding actions, but with Town Clerk not being at the meeting today, I don't intend to go through those in detail, but what I will do, I'll send them a list of the actions that I've been tracking over the past few meetings, so she can hopefully incorporate them into a rolling action log, and that can then come to the next meeting as something we can actually see that captures all of the actions. But there was one I did want to mention. At the last meeting we discussed briefly the C-Link project.
Indeed.
I've attended sessions run both by National Grid, and because they're promoting the project, and also the Save Minster Marshes campaign group who are objecting to the project. So what I was going to ask is, are we going to look and consider an STC response, because it's a major project. It is controversial, but in the sense that it is a significant change. So I would suggest, because it is close to Sandwich, we should have a view, and we should also provide an input to the process.
Indeed, thank you for that. And that is correct. The previously there was a link, an electrical link from the continent, from Belgium, and we were consulted on that, and Sandwich Town Council gave a consultation appraisal of that. So I should suggest that this should go on to the next agenda, so that the C-Link we can actually decide on.
The only issue is the deadline for the first round. The consultation is underway at the moment, is the 18th of December.
That's difficult. May have to undertake that electronically.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that. I'll have a word with the town clerk about that. Could you make a note about that? The deadline for that first meeting. Well, there, Councillor Anderson.
Yes, I think it would be worth inquiring as to what other local councils are doing and what their response is going to be, because it may be that we can combine, and that would make us more powerful, our voice.
Indeed, that's correct. So,
Ramsgate Town Council are actively sort of providing their opinions on it, so that's certainly one council we should link up with.
Yeah. Perhaps we can link with them. Thank you very much for raising that issue. Were there any other queries or questions, Councillor Black?
Yes, I appreciate the town clerk not here, but we have been waiting a rather long time for these safety audits about the bus.
From Stagecoach?
I'm not sure whether it's DDC, KCC or Stagecoach. There are 3 of them, and we haven't seen anything. Can I ask that this be expedited as soon as possible when the town clerk as well?
Indeed, thank you for that. So that's the safety audits and all the road layout of the forecourt. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know if you need any time. Okay, that's it. Councillor Breen.
On a point of order, Mr Mayor, in the minutes of last month's meeting, in terms of the public participation spot, can I remind you that under Standing Order 518, the Chair will indicate the follow-up that will be given to each public speaker, e.g. a written reply or action allocated to a councillor, a committee, subcommittee, working group or an officer. At the discretion of the Chair, individual councillors can respond to statements or questions from members of the public. And can I ask you to backtrack on that for last month's meeting and going forward to make sure that that standing order is followed, please?
Indeed, I will. Yes, and apologies if I didn't follow that at our last meeting there. I will follow that up on this one here. Did we have any more queries or questions on the previous minutes at all? If we didn't, could I have a proposer and seconder? Thank you. So that's Councillor Anderson proposing and Councillor Tudor seconding. Okay, and can I ask all of you to vote as to being in favour of those minutes, please? So it's unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. And the next set of minutes are to receive the minutes of the Heritage and Townscape Committee meeting held on the 9th of October 2023, and this is attachment 1B. Do we have any queries or questions on the minutes of the Heritage and Townscape meeting? If we don't have any queries or questions on that, could I have somebody to propose and second that? So Councillor Anderson proposing and Councillor Black is seconding. Can you all vote clearly as to being in favour of those minutes? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. And the third set of minutes are to receive the minutes of the Planning Committee meeting held on the 11th of October 2023, and this is attachment 1C. Are there any queries or questions about the Planning Committee meeting minutes? No? Okay then. Could I have a proposer, Councillor Franklin, and a seconder, Councillor Fortescue? Thank you very much. And could you vote for those minutes accordingly? It's unanimous, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. And finally, to receive the minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee meeting held on the 16th October 2023, and this is attachment 1D. Do we have any questions or queries on these minutes for the Finance and General Purposes Committee? No? So could I have a proposer and seconder for that? So, okay, so thank you, that's Councillor Tudor and Councillor Wiles. And could you vote in favour accordingly? Is that one abstention, Councillor Breen?
Yes, I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay, that's one abstention from Councillor Breen.
And in the planning, actually, I abstained as well. Did you get that?
All right,
For the same reason.
Sorry, I didn't see that, Councillor Black.
That's
Thank you
very
very much.
full vision.
Okay, thank you very much, councillors. And item number 5 is payment schedules. And 5A is to receive and note the payments for the mid-November totalling £31,570.64. Those payments which are not supported by a minute reference have been authorised by officers with delegated powers of expenditure. And item 5B is to receive and approve the scheduled payments for November totalling £329.74. And I would like, do we have any queries or questions on those two sets of accounts? No queries or questions? Could I have a proposer?
Yeah, I propose we do the two
Councillor
together.
Franklin's proposing. Could I have a seconder for those? Councillor Wiles, thank you very much. And all those in favour, please vote accordingly. Item 5C, the council are to nominate 2 signatories to authorise the end of November payment schedules on Bankline. Can I ask, am I on any of these? Which one am I? The first one or second one? I think it was the first one, wasn't it? Am I on the second one as well? Oh, okay, right, okay then. Well, super. Sorry about that. So, I'm actually a beneficiary on these due to paying out for hospitality. So I need 2 people who can authorise these payment schedules. So Councillor Franklin is one. Is there anybody else set up on Bankline? Councillor Wiles is the second one. So, and that will be for both 5C and 5D. All those in favour of Councillor Franklin and Councillor Wiles authorising these payments, please signify. It's unanimous, okay then. And then we have item number 6, public participation. A 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting. Too easy on them. Apparently the clerk says that I can allow you to remove your robes at this point in the evening, so would you like to retire to the derobing room and return here post haste? What was it? Oh, okay. Oh, rather like wearing ones. I feel we get on. Shall I leave it here? That's it.
How come you didn't robe up there?
I've just put it down here. I did, yeah. So, yeah. What you will notice is missing is the mace. Oh, sorry.
There's a time next to
Ventilation.
Perhaps I should have gone out there. Should have been back in. Oh, indeed. No, I'll talk to him prior to the meeting, so I'll see if I can see him.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Pay attention, please. Item number 6 is public participation. This is a 20-minute session. It's set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of the business on the agenda and other matters, if time permits. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak, together with the topic to be addressed, must be given to the town clerk prior to noon on the day of the meeting. So the first speaker we have is Ian Ball, who is the chairman of Sandwich Folk and Ale Festival. Mr. Ball, would you like to come forward, please, and stand so you can see the councillors? That'd be fine there, thank you very much. That's superb. Could I just explain to you, my colleague over here has 3 cards, so when it's green, it's 4 minutes. Yellow.
Between 4th and 5th minute.
And when it gets to 5 minutes, you get red carded. Okay then?
I'll try not to exceed that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ball, would you like to address the council?
Thank you very much. My name's Ian Ball, I'm chairman of the Sandwich Folk and Ale Festival. I took over this year, and many thanks for this opportunity to speak to you today. As many of you are aware, Sandwich Folk and Ale has been running for quite a few years now. And as a brief reminder, we are Sandwich's largest event, and we take place over a week in the summer. I believe we provide a significant boon to our town's vital hospitality industry. These businesses employ large amounts of local residents, both old and young, and provide vital services upon which we all depend and benefit from. Furthermore, our event provides a wonderful opportunity for talented artists from the area and indeed further afield to showcase their talents. In that spirit, Sandwich Town Council, via the Tollbridge Fund, has been a key supporter of the festival for many years. The support of STC is really important to the host of volunteers who give up a huge amount of their time to make this great event happen. The funds provided typically make a significant contribution to ensuring key facilities, such as welfare and security, are available during the festival. As such, we, as a committee, have made a request to yourselves for the allocation of £3,000 from you to support our next festival, which will be taking place in early July 2024. I must stress that this is financially a particularly hard time for events such as ours. We typically rely on a variety of grants to run the festival. However, as many of you are no doubt aware, many local authorities upon whom we have come to rely are facing severe financial challenges. As such, many of the funds we would historically rely on no longer exist. My team is working extremely hard to find alternative funding sources, yet I am ultimately relying on the good faith of individuals giving up their spare time to make this happen. I must also add that our planning cycle takes place over a 12-month period, with many of our lead times extending out to 6 to 9 months. Ultimately, knowing as early as possible what budget we have to work with makes our jobs considerably easier and contributes in no small part to the success of each festival. As such, I was significantly pleased to note in our recent Guildhall consultation meeting that our grant application was to be discussed at this meeting. In summary, our festival really matters to this town. It matters to our businesses, our young, our old, our reputation, and to our culture. Your support is therefore absolutely vital, and I will ensure, as chairman of the committee, that full credit will be given where credit is due. Many thanks for your time, and most importantly for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to pick up where my other colleague was earlier, we are discussing on the agenda, we have got the grants budget, which we're discussing this evening. So we'll bear that in mind and be in touch with you in due course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you.
And our second speaker this evening is Carol George, who is representing Sandwich in Bloom. Mrs. George, would you like to come forward? Are you aware of the timekeeping? You are super. as a
And talk
regular.
fast.
Oh, excellent. So, would you like to?
Yeah, good evening, Mr Mayor, councillors. It came to my attention that the issue of grants was listed as an item on tonight's agenda, and this reminded me that you kindly awarded Sandwich in Bloom a grant for 23-24. Other grant applications usually state that if fortunate enough to receive an award, feedback and associated costs against the original criteria would be required. While STC currently doesn't appear to make this stipulation, I thought it might be useful to give you some assurances that your money was spent wisely for the benefit of the town. You'll be aware that the barrier baskets on the quay were replenished in the summer. We also decorated in red, white and blue colours accordingly with respect to the King, and we created the small garden around the bus shelter. This is always used, apart from the odd comment when someone wants to know when the bus is going to pass, but that's par for the course these days. We continue to support the old post office flower pots, etc. And DDC generously gifted replacement planters for 6 of our old apple crates that were falling apart. This was unexpected, but they also gave us some money to put the soil and the plants inside. So we were very grateful for that. An area that we really wanted to improve were the grounds surrounding St Mary's. This is a focal point as you come into the town from Ash Road, Strand Street, and it always looked a bit sort of uncared for. We were given advice from Dawn Baxter Phillips with respect to the tombstones, and we carefully removed all the old weeds that were there. And then purchased a lawnmower, or at least David Silk did with his wife, to cut the grass. We planted spring bulbs there, including lots of crocus bulbs ready against the tombstones to actually acknowledge that there were dead people laying beneath there. And then we started with the tulip bulbs, which were a great success. As a result of that, we decided to put new planters there hanging on the railings, and those complemented the planters that Chris Day had built with the help of the funds from St Mary's. So we have continued that, and we're actually looking forward to doing something more there next year with respect to purchasing an old trough, animal trough, which we will fill with plants, and that will go into that funny sort of V-shaped area. A Christmas tree is going up there soon as well, so we really think that this helps any visitor coming into the town from that direction. It makes it feel whole and that it's cared for. The winter plants are now on the quay, as you know, and our theme as ever is the 12 days of Christmas. The CCT gave us permission to stand 12 trees along the pathway of St Peter's Church Gardens. These will be lit with solar lights to coincide with the sandwich light switch on. However, posters were created and distributed to schools encouraging all children to make appropriate decorations from recycled material so that they could hang them on the trees. We wanted something simple and inclusive to help create a Christmas spirit for children. Alongside this, we worked with the organisers of the pantry, and all members of the pantry were given a free raffle ticket. 12 numbers were then drawn, and these families received a token to exchange at Archers Low for a free Christmas tree. We all know that this year is even more financially challenging for families, and therefore hope that this would bring some unexpected Christmas cheer to a small number of family groups. None of what we do is possible without our dedicated committee and volunteers, who I wish to publicly thank. I also wish to highlight the fantastic contribution that Sarah Doyle, who is a member of our committee, and her mad team at Archers Low make to Sandwich in Bloom and to Sandwich. Like us, Sarah loves Sandwich and wants to see the town thrive and flourish, and we could not achieve any of this without Sarah, her team, and obviously the new member, Little Florence. So another year is nearing its end, and we hope that you think we've used your money wisely. As well as maintaining the status quo, we do have some ideas for 2024. The riverside troughs need to be totally replenished, and also in collaboration with Sandwich Infant School, we hope to put a planter outside the gates on the pavement where the road drivers dangerously park their cars. This will also create a raised planting area for the children to work with.
Thank you very much.
I've got one more paragraph. Can I read that?
I'm sure you can. I'm sure
We
you can
have
squeeze
we
that.
have hand delivered over 30 letters to the local businesses on the outskirts of the town, asking for donations, and are yet to see if we've been successful, which means that we may still have to return to you for some financial support next year. If we do, we trust that you will know that our aim is always to support our local businesses, encourage tourism, create civic pride, and to ensure that Sandwich blooms. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that pleasing report. That's very kind. Nice to hear something positive. So, thank you for that. And our third speaker tonight is Christina Glynn, and she's going to discuss charges on the forecourt, I believe.
Right. I'm addressing you this evening in relation to Agenda Item 11, Financial Information, Attachment 3, page 24, Section Forecourt Income to be used for repayment of loan and other maintenance of forecourt. Listed under this item are current markets with a balance of 1,977 at the end of October. Current markets are the only income stream listed under the heading of forecourt income for loan repayments. This is both concerning and confusing. Looking back at financial information published with previous agendas, current markets delivered income of £14,117 in 2021-22 and £9,440 in 22-23. The latter figure was impacted negatively by the market going into decline that year, as well as relocation to the car park while the forecourt works took place. If the period in the car park during 22-23 is subtracted and the balance averaged and extended to the whole year, market income would have been in the region of £10,000 for 22-23, which may be used as a baseline figure. The current year, which continued to be affected by forecourt works as well as the prior year's decline in trading, shows market income at £1,977 to the end of October. But happily, the situation has been turned around and the market is now taking approximately £200 a week, which equates to approximately £10,000 per annum. This means that market income is on track for meeting and hopefully exceeding the level of income it was generating in 22-23 before the forecourt works took place. Meanwhile, the loan taken out by STC towards the forecourt works required servicing, and the accounts show loan repayments of £12,033 in 22-23 and also in 23-24, totalling £24,066 as at the end of October. The council assured residents that these loan repayments would not be serviced by the precept, but by generating additional income from the new forecourt. It should be noted that historical market income went into the general melting pot of STC accounts and therefore offset against the precept. If historical market income is rediverted towards loan repayments, that is no different to charging the loan repayments direct to the precept, which the council stated it would not do. But, and this is where it gets confusing, the financial information attached to this agenda shows market income still below the level historically contributing to the general account, redirected to loan repayments in 2023-24. Only incremental market income over and above the historical level of say 10,000 can be directed towards loan repayments without negatively impacting the precept. This distinction is not clear within the financial information presented with the agenda, which gives the impression that all market income may be redirected towards loan repayments, whilst remaining silent on STC's promise to residents. I hereby request that transparency be strengthened with regard to the sources of income to be used for the loan repayments by splitting market income into two lines and by adding further lines. First, allocate, say, £10,000 market income representing the historical contribution to the general account to a separate line that continues to contribute towards the general account and therefore the precept. And then, under forecourt income towards loan repayments, add incremental market income over and above the historical level of, say, £10,000, income from new events organised by STC, income from events organised by charitable organisations, income from events organised by commercial organisations, income from hospitality, including commercial placement of tables and chairs on the forecourt, and other income from users of the forecourt. Whereas it is clear there is an initial deficit of incremental income against loan repayments, it is expected that the incremental forecourt income will overtake the level of loan repayments, hopefully in 2024-25, whereupon it may make good the deficits incurred in 22-23 and 23-24 in the first instance, and then perhaps build a ring-fenced reserve for contingency before being applied to other uses. It would be helpful if a rolling journal entry could be maintained to show the balance between incremental forecourt income and loan repayments to assist with transparency and monitoring of the overall position.
Well done.
Get something back about making those entries separate, something like that. Yeah, Christina, I've just been discussing, we've got the finance officer here tonight, so what we're going to do is look into your proposal that you've made about having separate journal entries for those different items and see if that is possible in the accounts, and then we'll get back to you to let you know if we can actually instigate that and have more transparency and clearance on where the income is coming to and what it is being put against for the accounts. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you very much. And I think the biggest point from my perspective is for it to be clear that the loan repayments are not taking money away that had previously been contributing towards the general fund in the precept.
Precept indeed, yeah, and thank you for making that point. That's very, very valid. Thank you for that. So. Okay, item moving on now, councillors. Item number 7 is the verbal report from our Dover District councillors on matters relating to Sandwich. Councillor Morehouse, could I ask you to take to the floor and address the council, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Firstly, I share the sentiments of Kevin Mills and his sense of indignation and anger about the job losses at Pfizer, and I thank you very much for your endeavours in addressing this issue. Secondly, in terms of local issues, I've been in contact about the fencing on wayfarers. Dover District Council seem to think that can be allowed under permissive development. I strongly disagree with them. I have made contact with them. I am waiting for a response. I reported last time that I'd made contact with Roger Walton about 57 New Street, aka The Limes. I chased him up again at the back end of last week, and I still haven't heard back from him. On Wednesday, there is the full council meeting with 2 issues on the agenda. One is the electoral review, the boundary changes. There are no boundary changes in terms of the local elections. As you're all very well aware, that the merger with Herne Bay is un fait accompli. And the second thing is to discuss the corporate plan for 2023 to 2027 under the new council. And they'll be looking at 4 strategic themes, which are improving our housing, protecting our environment, supporting our communities, and the 5th ambition is, which is underpinning those, is modernising the council. And finally, the Bulwarks Play area, which has been the subject of much debate over several months about these monies that were secured from Southern Water. I have seen an invoice that was dated, a remittance advice that was dated the 1st of April 2021, and can confirm that Southern Water reimbursed Dover District Council to the tune of £30,000 plus VAT, taking it up to 36,000. And at the much talked about contribution towards the play area was £15,000 and not 30,000, as I think several people have been led to believe. And I am aware that the town clerk is arranging for a pre-meeting in January with Karen Evans at BDC. I think that's about the one other thing is that the next meeting. Sadly, I'm away on business in Shropshire, but I will be sending in a written report. So I send my apologies for the next meeting.
Super.
Recorded. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Could you just Councillor Morehouse's apologies for the next meeting, please? Thank you very much. Thank you for that report, Councillor Morehouse. And now item number 8 is the verbal report from our Kent County Councillor on matters relating directly to Sandwich. I believe we've had her apology, haven't we, Councillor Chandler?
Yes.
Did she give a report?
This is the report.
Or is that it?
Yeah.
She was
We have several copies, so.
Oh, okay then. Oh, right, okay. Well, I shall read that out then, so, and then we can distribute the copies. Unfortunately, our Kent County Councillor is unable to be here tonight, and she's given us her apologies, but she has given us a written report. So, being in the chair, I will read it out to you. KCC Members Report to Sandwich Town Council, November 2023. I'm sure we are all dismayed to hear the news that because of a worldwide review, Pfizer's have indicated that it is going to reduce its workforce at Discovery Park, and 500 employees have been put at risk. I joined the leader and cabinet member Derek Murphy at a meeting with Discovery Park owners and senior management that week to discuss the support that Kent County Council could offer the mayor. The mayor has received a full response from the leader, Roger Goff, which I'm sure he has shared with councillors. Discovery Park is now a successful science park with 52 companies calling it home. However, this is still very disappointing news. Our thoughts are also, of course, with the individuals directly affected by this decision. KCC will continue to support Discovery Park. Discovery Park is now in the past, flooding has been a serious concern for the residents of Sandwich, and thankfully, following the extensive works carried out to install the improved flood protection along the River Stour, this has become less immediate. However, our proximity to the coast and the river through the town will mean, I am sure, that town councillors and residents may want to give their views on Kent County Council's updated local flood risk management strategy 2024 to 2034. KCC's priority is to improve the safety and well-being of Kent's residents and economy by bolstering local flood risk management. The draft strategy sets out how the council will work with communities and partners, adapt to a changing climate, and use natural processes to provide multiple benefits where possible to local flood risk management. It follows the goals set out in the National Flood and Coastal Erosion Risk Management Strategy for England. This focuses on making places resilient across climate change growing infrastructure. From today, 22nd of November 2023, you can have your say by visiting the KCC website and searching on local flood risk. And this consultation is open until the 30th of January 2024. If you have any questions or need any of the consultation material in an alternative copy, please email flood@kent.gov.uk. Please use the reference Local Flood Risk Management Strategy. And that's it, signed off by Sue Chandler, County Councillor for Sandwich. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Councillor.
I'd just like to say that that report is a cut and paste job. It doesn't say anything about what that councillor has done in Sandwich in terms of casework or issues taken up, and yet that councillor is being paid over £1,000 a week. That's my comment.
Okay. Thank you very much for that comment. Councillor Black, did you have a comment?
Yes, I think that just as we are running out of time to debate any consultation about the national grid, but we should take time because this is an area which is inherently walled up for flooding. And let's face it, for a few centuries, most of it was underwater. And I do think we ought to debate this, whether it's in January or in December. But I think we really must start taking the initiative with some of these discussions. Otherwise, we have no voice.
Indeed. Thank you for that. Did you make a note of, sorry, the consultation, flood risk consultation for the town clerk, so that we perhaps get it on the next agenda? If you don't mind. Did anybody else have any other questions for the report from the Kent County Councillor? No? Okay, thank you very much. And item number 9 is a report from local police representative and community warden for Sandwich, and this is to receive reports from local police representatives or community warden Peter Gill, if available. Sorry to ask, did we have anything from Is it all of them or just part of that? Okay. Yeah, without boring you, this is it's actually, it looks like it's from a website, so it's got graphics and headers from a website. So I think instead of boring you and reading it out, this part is from my community voice. So I think I will get that sent on to you by the town clerk or somebody else. It's probably something you could get online anyway. And really what as Councillor Wiles has said, what we're really looking for is perhaps something that's local to Sandwich and the information that we actually want on our local community. So I will get that distributed to you, but ask that the police officer attends our final meeting of the year, so that we can actually see her, hear from her and question her as to the crime and issues within the town relating to Kent Police Force. Thank you. We didn't have anything from the KCC warden, I don't think. No, super, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so we didn't have anything from the KCC warden, Peter Gill. Item number 10 is updates from councillors, and this is to receive and note verbal updates from councillors on meetings that they have attended as nominated representatives of the council only. Do we have any councillors who've attended? So I think Councillor Wiles is hand. Oh, Councillor Anderson first, please. Would you like to stand and speak? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended 2 events. One on November the 18th, which was the AGM of the Kent Association of Local Councils, which I found extremely interesting. And I am aware that Sandwich has not, this town council has not normally attended the AGM, and I think that's symptomatic of how the council has in the past viewed itself as a desert island, or at least a populated island, but one that has no connection with other councils, other similar work that we undertake here. And I found it very useful to make contact with other parish and town councillors, and also to engage in debate about various motions which were put to the AGM. One in particular, which I'm reminded about, was about retaining community wardens because they are under threat, and that was very strongly supported, that community wardens are regarded as extremely useful. And another which was proposed by a smaller parish council, that by-elections should be abolished. And I'm very much against that. So we were told that we would be enabled to put forward our own views and that we were treated as representatives of the town council. So if any of you disagree with me, I'm sorry, but that's how I argued. I did not think it was a good idea to abandon that democratic principle on grounds of cost, which is what it was being argued for. And there were many interesting stalls, and I won't go through them, but I learned about grants for fire resilience to older households and so on, and all that information I will pass on to the town clerk, and I think it's very useful information that should be included in our new website when that is forthcoming, which hopefully it will be very soon. And the second event I went to was on Saturday this weekend, where I, with Councillor Fortescue, was invited by the Martha Trust to their craft fair to judge the colouring in competition. The first lot was for children aged 4 to 7, and the second lot was for children aged 8 to 11. And they had literally hundreds of entries. And I thought when I arrived, give them all a prize, but that would have been, but they all got a sweet apparently. Anyway, we worked very hard in the kitchen here, and we found the top 3 in each category. But we had to give the results in front of 2 very disappointed looking little children. But anyway, I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much, sir. Can I just point out to the council that Councillor Morehouse and myself do attend the calc meetings, so they have monthly calc meetings. So, so we do attend those. And previously, it's only this year. In previous years, it was always the town clerk that attended the AGM for the thing, and it wasn't actually offered up to councillors previously, only this year. But I'm very grateful that you went along, Councillor Anderson. So, Councillor Chuka.
Yes, I've got just 3 engagements I've been involved in since the last meeting. So a few of us attended the 2 days of the Whitefriars or Fellowship Walk planning appeal, and that resulted in a successful outcome in the sense that the planning itself, the application was refused, and that takes us back to point 0 in terms of not knowing what happens next, so the land stays as it is. But I wanted to pick up on Councillor Morehouse's comments around engaging with the planning team. I separately have done that as well, and actually I've spoken to the person who's been appointed to manage the case, and that gentleman is actually visiting tomorrow to undertake an inspection. But the key point I really wanted to make was that we need to be proactive on this, because there are no enforcement notices served on that space at the moment, and I will be checking as to what needs to happen. The fencing's been mentioned, and I've had the same answer back, but I think there is some steps within their powers that they can undertake through discussion with the landowner. So I think, Mark, if we could link up, then we can make sure that we have a concerted effort on this, and maybe we could even have a meeting with the officer who's once he's done his visit.
Excellent.
Yeah, because the residents are still very concerned about the state of the land there and the need for it to be improved.
Indeed.
The second thing was that before the last STC meeting, we had a pre-meeting with Darren Solly and Emma Allen from DDC, Parks and Open Spaces. There were a number of questions, and primarily there were a set of questions that I presented for that session around the waterways. Some of those were mine, but many came from residents. So I followed that up with a meeting with Darren. We did a walkabout in the town. I also had exchanges with the Environment Agency, and that resulted in a number of answers that have been shared out to residents through social media, but it also has meant I've got now 2 good contacts about future activities relating to the waterways. And then the final one, which was the events meeting we had here. I attended that. We had the local events organisers that came into a meeting with us, and that was very much about presenting the context around the need to generate income from the forecourt and the approach that had been taken by the council, the benchmarking work that we'd undertaken to benchmark the fees that were still only intended to be introduced against similar other local venues. So it was very much an information giving session, which leads me on to 2 comments around that. Firstly, we had a set of slides presented at the meeting which were not in confidence. No. It was 4 weeks ago. We really need to make those available to the public.
Indeed.
Ideally with an accompanying note about the meeting itself, which leads me on to the second point, which was in the absence, in that vacuum of any outcome from the meeting, one of the councillors, who is unfortunately not here tonight, put their own clear communication onto social media, which to many respects misrepresented actually what happened at the event. So I just wanted to call out 2 things. The meeting was not held due to any pressure from any groups outside or as a result of petitions being run. That meeting was held following suggestion by Councillor Wiles at the previous meeting that we should have a meeting. So we had a meeting, and it was arranged within about 4 weeks of the town council meeting, and happened. Nobody put pressure on anybody in this room to have that meeting.
Exactly.
The second thing is, it was inferred that a victory somehow came out of that meeting. Nothing changed in terms of what went into that meeting and what came out of the meeting in terms of the information that had been gathered, the data that was presented. It was based on what the town clerk had presented at the October meeting. It was reinforced through the benchmarking. It was reinforced through evidence gathered over a number of years that led us to that position. That's what was presented. There was not a victory, there was nothing changed. So I think it's really clear to make that at this council meeting clear.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that, Councillor Chuka. Could we just make a note for the town clerk about the slides for the event organisers, if they could be made public on the website, because I think that would dispel any issues where things are put on social media incorrectly. So, Councillor Wiles, please stand and address the council.
Just report back on the examination in public of the local plan I attended last week on the 21st to represent Sandwich Town Council, and the views that we had put forward previously from the meeting in November 22. So this is the Dover District Council local plan, which will guide development in the district for the next 20 years. The government has appointed 2 inspectors who sat and questioned the panellists, which was people like myself, developers, the Green Party were there, and also residents speaking on the various sites. You'll be aware of some of the more controversial ones like SAP 22 on Dover Road, Archers Low and so on. So I put forward our position as best I could. I'm also going to attend on the 7th of December to represent our position on the retail aspects of the plan, to try and protect residential units within, retail units within the town centre.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for doing that. That's very, very, very important. I was very grateful that you were able to step in, because I wasn't able to go to that. And as I say, that will take development in this town forward in the future. So if we don't have our say on that, then we've literally handed over the reins of development to Dover District Council planning. So thank you very much. That was very important to attend that. Councillor Morehouse first, I think. Sorry.
Mine follows directly on Councillor Wiles.
Okay. Oh, sure, indeed. Sorry. Would you mind, Councillor Morehouse? Sorry. Councillor Black, would you like to address the
I have
council?
two issues. I also went to that Dover District meeting, and I have to say that it was a very poor show. on behalf of Dover District Council. And even the inspectors were quite surprised at DDC's inability to answer any questions. They think things are done deals. Boy, did they get a shock. Okay, I want to talk about SAP 21, which is the land between Deal Road and Dover Road, adjacent to the school. The history of that is very complex, and it's not for here. Originally, the leisure centre was to benefit, but now it is a private academy. Let's have no doubts about that. DDC and the agent have proposed, without even contacting STC, that 0.8 of a hectare be given to the school as a playing field, provided an extra 20 houses can be built on that site, a 50% increase. No consideration of what the local community might prefer, something else, and maybe even fewer, even no houses. Councillor Morehouse has kindly offered to try to get a bit more information as to how they think they can do this. We were told a decade ago that in a decade the school will expand. Unfortunately, many of you will have had a letter not too many weeks ago from the head teacher saying they're actually reducing their intake, and they will do so for us some time, and for the past 2 years they've failed to recruit the full number of students. Something doesn't match up, and I asked that question and DDC were unable to answer. STC, and poor old Councillor Wiles had to explain in great detail about road improvements outside this on Deal Road. DDC admitted they haven't discussed any of this with the Highways Authority and Kent County Council, and the inspectors weren't able to get an answer from them. I asked what happened to Southern Water's concerns about sewage capacity. It was in the 2015 plan. Somehow it's disappeared. But I know for a fact that there is a sewage capacity problem, and I've got some data on that. Again, no answer, and the problem has not been addressed, and the inspectors were rather concerned. The area is now back in a floodplain and has standing water issues. So the inspectors could not get an answer on this topic either. And many of you will know that lovely hedge that's along Deal Road. How much will have to be cut back? We don't know. That's the quality of the information on this. I thought it was very poor. I think Councillor Wiles did a very good job at defending the situation, but believe me, it was an uphill struggle.
Indeed, thank you very much.
Second issue I've got, very briefly, and you don't get away with it. My money's worth. I deal with the rail liaison group. A few good bits of news. First of all, station staff are not being removed from stations. The national outcry about this has been very, very successful. So station staff will be retained. And I don't know if any of you use the station. The station clerk there is extremely helpful. Secondly, the February closure of the tunnel at Folkestone is now postponed, and so we're not going to have problems of trains having to be diverted to Canterbury, trains to London, and also how we're going to use the Parkway. There will be no trains on the 25th and 26th of December. They did offer to do a couple of things, and I perhaps need to speak more to age concern other groups like that. They're quite happy to come and do some ticket machine training for people. I was a bit wondering when the ticket clerk said, can I take part in that? But, you know, they are prepared to bring some groups in future walks around the town, and I've already spoken to the History Society about that. And the last thing is there will be a closure of Victoria Station in February, but it shouldn't have had much effect at all on people in Sandwich.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Black. Two very comprehensive reports there, thank you. Councillor Morehouse, can I ask you to address?
I just wanted to clarify about fencing. Fencing I was talking about is adjacent to Wayfarers and the Whitefriars. And it's to do with the style of fencing. Going on from that, it was suggested on social media that Sandwich Town Council were against this development of the Wayfarers site, which is untrue, because we agreed on it at the planning committee.
Indeed.
And I'm sure, given the choice, we would have wanted it to be retained as it was originally set up for, but another proposal's come along and we've accepted that. and I found the comments made on social media suggesting that our opposition to the fencing was somehow a kick in the teeth for the business that was trying to set up there, and that is definitely not the case.
Indeed, yeah, very good point. It was a shame that it was left redundant and mothballed for so many years when it could have been put to good use for local charities or community groups. Shame on Kent County Council really on that behalf. So thank you very much. Oh, Councillor Breen, beg your pardon.
Mr. Mayor, very quickly.
Is this appertaining to any meetings you've attended? Or?
Yes,
it is.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to report that Councillor Franklin and myself met with All Sorts of Music, who were one of the organisations who responded to the Maddox survey, and you'll find more details in item 17 of tonight's meeting.
That's excellent. Thank you very much for that. That's very kind of you. So, and item number 11 is financial information, and this is to receive and note the Sandwich Town Council statement of accounts as at the 30th of October, and this is for the income and expenditure budget, and this is attachment 3. Do we have any questions or queries on the statement of accounts? If we don't have any questions or queries, could I have a proposer and seconder for the statement of accounts as of October 2023? So that's Councillor Franklin and Councillor Morehouse. And could you vote accordingly with your cards if you're in favour? So that's everybody in favour of that. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Right there. Item number 12. This is labelled up as a public apology from Councillor Franklin. Councillor Franklin is to share a public apology to the previously employed Chief Executive, but just before he does, I just wanted to state I'm aware that there was a post on social media today, and the post said incorrectly once again, I'm afraid this is from a political party, but they very incorrectly and infactually stated that this is an apology from Sandwich Town Council. It is not an apology from Sandwich Town Council at all. And despite this information, the information that was posted tonight should be taken down immediately. It's factually incorrect. It's totally wrong that this post has been put up by this political party, and it has picked up information and turned it round to make this council look in a bad light. It is very defamatory, and I'm really upset that this particular political party continue to bash the new council who are working so hard to do so much for the residents of this town.
Yeah.
And I wish they'd come and apologise. Councillor Franklin, sorry, would you like to take the floor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The former Mayor, Councillor Paul Graham, has made a spurious complaint against me for bullying the former CEO to the monitoring officer at Dover District Council. The CEO and myself had a discussion after she followed me out of a reception in the Guildhall. I did not shout at her, as a complaint alleges, and in my own mind this conversation did not amount to bullying. After the November 2021 meeting of the Town Council, when I stated that Councillors Fox, Friend and the Mayor should resign because of the CEO's appointment by an in-court HR committee, the Mayor then made his bullying complaint. I still do not think I bullied the CEO. However, after 2 years exactly to the month, the monitoring officer still insists I publicly apologise to the former CEO, or this complaint will be taken further to a formal inquiry. So therefore, to finalise this complaint, I apologise to the former CEO for talking to her. Okay.
Thank you very much, Councillor Franklin.
Dear, oh dear. This is unbelievable.
And item number 13 is the proposed Christmas closure for Sandwich Town Council. The council is requested to agree that the Guildhall Christmas closure will be from the 23rd of December 2023 and to reopen after the new year on the 2nd of January 2024. This is attachment number 4, and a decision on this closure period is required, I'm very happy to propose that the Guildhall is closed for that time so that our hard-working staff can have some quality time with their family. Would anybody like to second my proposal?
Yeah.
So, thank you, Councillor Anderson. And all those in favour of the Guildhall closure?
I think we should work through Christmas.
Unanimous. Are you okay to come into Christmas Day? I'm opposed it. Is that okay? Item number 14 is proposed Christmas closure of the public toilets, and the council is requested to agree that the public conveniences at both sites will be closed on Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day. This is attachment number 5, and for clarity, both sites will mean the toilets down on the quay and the toilets in the Guildhall car park, in case any of the public are not aware. So could I have a proposer and seconder for that? Councillor Wiles and Councillor Morehouse.
Just wanted to say that the lavatory attendant does an amazing job. It's a thankless task, and she's well deserved.
Thank you very much for that praise. Can you note the praise from Councillor Morehouse, the toilet attendant? And all those in favour of the Christmas closure?
Can I just say it's from all of us?
Yeah.
Oh, indeed. Yeah. Yeah. All those in favour of the closure of the toilets? Councillor Wiles? Okay, that is unanimous there. Thank you very much. Okay, and item number 15 is Peace Monument and Ceremony Expenditure. Members are asked to note the report that relates to information concerning the cost of the Peace Monument and the unveiling ceremony, which was held on the October the 27th, 2023, and this is attachment number 6. And can I just put forward about this, although it's just noting the report, just to give a bit of history behind this. When we were approached about this monument, both myself and Councillor Franklin were approached, and we were told about this. We were told the monument would be free, which it was, and that the ceremony would have minor costs behind it. Now, unfortunately, 2 weeks before this event went ahead, unfortunately there was an assassination of 2 Belgians who were murdered, and when we put this event on and we told Kent Police that we were inviting Belgian dignitaries to a specific public event, we were told to undertake a number of measures to ensure their safety, and of course due to the inclement weather we were told to have covering and everything like that. So the actual costs of this event, the costs of the actual monument and the actual ceremony taking place itself were minimal, but it was the costs of the additional things such as security, PA system and the gazebo, which were necessary to undertake it in the inclement weather there. So, did you have a question, Councillor Morehouse?
Yes, could I just ask, the reason this is on the agenda, is this the result of another frivolous FOI request?
It could well be, indeed, yeah. That's
I think
correct.
my comment links to that. I thought it was an excellent event, well executed, very sympathetic in terms of what it was about. And I find it quite a distraction for town clerk and her staff to have interventions. This was the first opportunity to come to a town council meeting to report back on the event. And we've got a report. Brilliant.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. So, Councillor Mallet.
It's just an Mr. Mayor, it's just an observation on the monument itself.
Indeed.
The monument has a plaque screwed in. I would say it is shoved on. Would it be appropriate, with permission from those who provide the monument itself, to allow for, and we have a stonemason in Sandwich, to have that area flattened so that the plaque looks like it's supposed to be there.
Indeed, I see.
I think it would emphasise, it would uplift that monument considerably.
Of course, yeah. I can put that to the town clerk. The actual arrangements as you see them now were rather rushed in the end, so we didn't actually undertake the finished article that we really wanted at the time. So I will put that to the town clerk along with other arrangements that we're proposing to bring to the council. But thank you very much for that. Councillor Franklin.
Mr. Mayor, we haven't actually decided on a permanent site.
No,
So I'm
indeed.
still worried about being there for when we have the events on.
No,
we do
indeed.
have vehicles backing up, we have stages there, don't we?
That's
And
correct.
I know it's a granite, I think, it'd be such a shame for it to get damaged.
Oh, indeed, yeah. Thank you for that observation. Councillor Breen.
Mr Mayor, I note that the overall budget for the mayor and civic events for this year looks like it's going to be underspent, and I assume that this minimal cost will be charged to that section of the budget and contained within the overall budget for the year.
Indeed it will, so there will not be any deficit or loss to the council whatsoever. Thank you for raising that, Councillor Breen. Could I ask you just to note this report, a proposer and seconder for that? So, Councillor Wiles and Councillor Franklin, proposing and seconding. Thank you. And all those in favour of noting the report? Thank you very much, thank you. That's very good. Okay. Item number 16 is our important one this evening, and this is the IT support arrangements and digital communications. Members are to consider a report which outlines the tender exercise to procure a new IT support managed service and the evaluation of the received bids. Members are invited to appoint an IT support service provider. This is attachment number 7. I'd also, for the public's point of view, I would just like to mention that this council held a pre-meeting which was open to the public, which was to actually discuss how this council and the hard-working IT working group came to evaluate these valuations here. And I must say I was really impressed by the professionalism of the working group in how they evaluated and did this in such a professional and transparent manner. So I'd like to put my thanks out there to the working group. Just to give an overview, we had 5 companies were approached, and the 5 accepted were invited to tender. I'll just read out briefly. The 5 companies are ADM Computing, Cloudy IT, Highways Business Services, MyTech Group Limited and MPR IT Solutions. The invitation to tender is attached for the councillors to read of these 5 companies and form the basis of the information requested from each of the bidders. Members were received a presentation from the town clerk before the meeting, although she wasn't actually present due to illness, from Councillor Chuka, with details of the individual bids for consideration, and the decision to appoint an IT support managed service provider to support the IT requirements for STC is requested. The recommendation is that members are asked to appoint a contractor to undertake the IT support managed service and the requirements for Sandwich Town Council, and a decision is required. I will accept any questions or queries over this matter, if anybody has any. Councillor Chuka, please stand.
Just to put a little bit more flesh on the bones, so we, as a group, individually scored each of the bidders, and then we came together as a group and looked across the piece. And from the 5 bids submitted, 1 company scored from all the individual councillors at the top in terms of their individual bids, then also in terms of the technical merits part of the evaluation, but also when combining that with the cost, the same company also for all working group members scored at the top, and that was Cloudy IT.
I see. Thank you very much for that additional explanation on the process that took place. Now, I believe quite a number of you attended the pre-meeting, so you know how much hard work went into evaluating this, and completely transparently. So I'm now asking for a proposer and a seconder to put forward an organisation. Could you please name the organisation that you would like us to accept?
I propose Cloudy IT is contracted with according to the criteria that we used in
Indeed.
the evaluation.
Do we have a seconder for that organisation to take on this contract with the council? Councillor Morehouse, seconding. Okay. And all those in favour of this company, please show now. No abstentions, so that is clear, unanimous support on behalf of Cloudy IT. Thank you very much, councillors. Councillor Morehouse. I beg your pardon?
Can I just ask how soon they'll be engaged in this?
Yeah, what we're going to do is I'm going to report this back to the town clerk, who will get in touch with the company. Obviously, we have to negotiate a contract, so they will put forward a contract to the town clerk, and I believe the town clerk, when we're satisfied, town clerk and I will sign off the contract. So we're hoping it will be very early in the new year at the latest. Thank you very much, councillors, for that very important matter. Item number 17 is Bay Hall and Maddox Working Group updates. Members are to consider a report from the responsible financial officer and the draft minutes of the Maddox Working Group, which are to be noted by members, and this is attachment number 8. And as I say, this was to summarise the responses from the returned Bay Hall questionnaires, and this was to establish a demand for the Bay Hall building as a community hub. 53 questionnaires were issued to local organisations and 14 responses were received by the deadline of the 30th of October 2023. Of the 14 responses, 5 expressed an interest, and 3 members of the Maddox Working Group studied the returned questionnaires, and summary details from the questionnaires are shown in Appendix 1. Councillors are asked to note this information and raise any concerns as necessary. Councillor Tuka.
Just a couple of points. Firstly, one's technical point in terms of the minutes that were included. The number sequencing was slightly off kilter halfway through, so that needs to be looked at again. It was a November meeting, not an October meeting. But the specific comment I've got on the minutes as drafted suggests that the group agreed that Bay Hall should be used for local community organisations. This doesn't really reflect the discussion that took place. There were a number of opinions expressed in the meeting, but the context that was set by Councillor Green was that it will be for their STC to determine based on the evidence presented, and that is at the appropriate point, that takes account of the demand, takes account of the likely costs, and the future use of the property itself. What I would say is, from in the discussion we had, my view, which wasn't universally shared, was that the demand that was presented falls significantly short of, in my opinion, a sustainable model for the use of the property. There may be other bids received, other organisations that might come out and raise their interest, but at the moment it's a very small number. But I believe Councillor Breen has a paper he's intending to bring in January, which will go to a greater detail around where we are as a group and in terms of what the proposals might be for STC to consider.
Brilliant, thank you very much for that. Councillor Breen, would you like to stand?
Thanks to Councillor Tuka for his comments there. I would ask members to note that I declared another significant interest in the Maddox Working Group, which are in the minutes because my primary residence is next door to the Bay Hall property, and it matters relating to excuse me, security would impact the value of my house. In terms of the minutes of the meeting, there's one minute which says that the objectives and purposes of the new charity is to be decided once a solicitor has been appointed. And it was my understanding from the meeting that Councillor Gray and myself would work on some objectives and purposes to be able to brief the solicitor so that the solicitor can be engaged economically, and for him not to come and ask us the obvious questions about what is the purpose of this charity. That's what I've just wanted to say. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that. Did you get that? So that was oh, good. So MWG 1123. Thank you very much. Okay, so, beg your pardon, Councillor Anderson?
I think Councillor Wiles as well.
Indeed, Councillor Wiles.
I mean, I should declare an interest that I'd submitted the Gaze and Salt's response to this, but notwithstanding this, I feel I should be able to speak. I mean, clearly there isn't the interest in using this property as a community resource, not to mention the physical structural issues that are involved. I think we should be selling this as quickly as we can. And I'm also very concerned about the executor, the solicitor. I'd be interested in knowing how much he's had in fees and what on earth he's up to.
Right, I see.
Thank you.
So concerns from Councillor Wiles. So, Councillor Anderson?
Yes, I would like Councillor Shuker to clarify exactly which minute he's talking about. Is it Romney number 1023.5, survey results Bay Hall? And I would suggest that it is clarified. I didn't attend the working group, but I watched the video, and it seemed to me, courtesy of Christina, that it seemed to me pretty clear that there really is very, very limited demand for this building, and that should have been made clear in that minute. And I'm hoping that one of the members of the working group, possibly Councillor Shuker, can redraft that minute so that it is clear what actually happened at the working group.
Should I respond? I think what we would like to do in terms of the working group, we want to finalise the survey. There was some concerns that maybe other organisations could have some time, and so we've left the door open until the beginning of January for other organisations should they wish to respond, because I think the intent is to prepare a detailed paper covering all of the responses, covering the purposes and so forth, and you will remember and bring that to the committee in January. The chair of the working group is nodding there, so we want to bring a major paper in January.
Indeed.
Because under the terms of the will, it said if it's practical, so we need to make this practicality decision in January as to whether it is practical that we continue with the process of making it into a community hub as Georgina wished.
So thank you for that. Councillor Franklin?
Yeah, I don't think the people speaking once, but twice, because we're running out of time, Mr. Mayor. But Georgina was a very good friend of mine, and I think that's very important. The first thing she said, use it as a community. It's not going to be no cost to us, is it?
No.
I think we can do the modifications. It wouldn't cost a lot. We have asked for a meeting with the planning officer, so there's no cost at the moment to us as a town council, to the precept. I think we should try what we can to honour Georgina's wishes, to do it as a community hub. I'm sure once it gets known and it gets out, because that's one of the things that one of our committee members said about the schools, wasn't it? Because he reckons the schools would, because they're doing woodland schools now, aren't they? Especially linking it with Gaze and Salt. So I don't think we should rush saying, oh, we're going to sell it. I think we should just sit on it and see what we can, and try and get it set up, because it's not going to interfere with Jubilee Centre or here, because it's small rooms, isn't it? It's like the music room group. They wanted it small rooms, so it's only small. And also, I'd like to see keep it, because I'd like to see it used as a mayor's garden party for fundraising. Because it generally raised £3,000.
And with that, we're only asked to actually note the information in this report. So I'm not taking any more questions on this. We're just to note what we've actually been presented with tonight. The clerk has made a note of the amendments that need to be made. So could I have a proposer and seconder for noting this report, please? So that's Councillor Franklin and Councillor Breen seconding that. And all those in favour, please show with your cards. So we've got one abstention. Oh, two abstentions. Three, sorry, beg your pardon, 3 abstentions. So thank you very much, that's passed. Item number 18, public consultation of Kent Cycling and Walking Infrastructure Plan. Kent County Council is consulting on proposals for new and improved walking, wheeling and cycling routes as part of the countrywide Cycling and Walking Infrastructure Plan. Consultation closes on the 10th of January 24, and the cycling route proposed that relates to Sandwich is route number 9, which runs from Canterbury to Sandwich. This is attachment number 9, and a decision is required. Before you deluge me with the benefits of walking and cycling, you can have one question each, and really we're looking towards Sandwich Town Council deciding whether to participate in the consultation or not. Councillor Morehouse.
I believe that we should participate in the consultation. The interesting thing that I know is the provision of additional cycling parking in Sandwich, which is very welcome, because at the moment there is a drastic shortage, especially in the summer months.
Exactly, that's correct. Councillor Anderson.
Yes, I just want to say that the Heritage and Townscape Committee is, I hope, focusing on building a decent cycle infrastructure in this town. We are already visited by many cyclists, but they need secure parking and they need decent, safe routes into this town, which they don't have at the moment. And I'm very pleased to see this. I think it's a great idea. It fits with the green infrastructure plan of Dover District Council, and I hope to see it go forward.
Thank you very much for that. So could I have a proposer and a seconder for undertaking this consultation? I will leave it to the town clerk to make the arrangements on the consultation, but tonight we just need the decision. So that's Councillor Morehouse is proposing and Councillor Anderson is seconding, and all those in favour please signify. Okay, that's everybody. Thank you very much for that. Item number 19 is the Disability Access Strategy Working Group membership, and members are to agree the nominations for membership of the Disability Access Strategy Working Group membership. A decision is required, attachment number 10. So,
I'll just speak to this quickly.
Indeed.
We did actually select some members, but somehow or other nobody made a note of who they are. We selected them some time ago, and they put themselves forward, and neither the town clerk nor I had a memory. So could those people who previously offered to be on the group please put themselves so?
Could you hold your hands up and keep them up, please, so that the clerk can make a note?
I'm one of them.
Councillor Anderson,
Councillor
Ripley,
Ripley, Councillor
Tomlins. Was there anybody else at all?
That would be fine. I mean, we don't have to have 5.
We have a
We
request.
have to have a quorum.
We have a request from Councillor Marie to join your group.
Right, okay. So that's the 4th one. I think Councillor Pennington did say that he was, but
Yes,
You know,
that rings a bell actually, yeah.
I would need to have somebody like positively say, we can't really go, sorry, on
No.
hearsay, we need one more councillor to join this group.
Oh dear.
Well, could he be emailed with that question? And Councillor Pennington?
Or Jeff. Mr. Mayor, I stand in for Councillor Pennington's way.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
I did
sure.
when I used to be involved with the Red Cross, I did used to do a lot of charity wheelchair.
Okay then. I'll
Oh, that's
second.
brilliant. Thank you very
Councillor
much. So
Franklin.
we've got, let's just be certain we've got a vote. Me,
That's it.
Councillor
Councillor-
Ripley, Councillor Tomlin,
Councillor Tomlins.
Councillor Franklin,
That's it, yeah.
and who's the fifth?
There's Councillor Marie.
And
if-
Councillor Marie.
Yeah, so that's ideal. Thank you very much for that. Could we just vote on that selection, please? I'm proposing that selection. Is somebody to second that? Councillor Black is seconding that, and all those in favour? That's everybody. Thank you very much for that. And item number 20 is White Mills Wake and Aqua Park report. Members are to receive and consider a report that details a petition shared by residents who were impacted by an event held at White Mills Wake and Aqua Park on the 19th and 20th of August 2023. The report contains information received from Dover District Council teams that have been directly involved with either complaints or planning applications that relate to the White Mills Wake and Aqua Park, and a decision is required on this. This is attachment number 11, so you could have one question each to discuss this, and then there's a recommendation that members are to invite to note the details and agree a draft letter of support for the residents who have signed the petition and have concerns about events planned for 2024 at this site. So if we have any questions or queries, Councillor Tutor first.
Okay, can I first of all say I'm glad to see this report brought to the Town Council. I've had a number of discussions with residents, and that was prompted by the actual event itself. I went up to the area to observe because of the amount of commenting on social media, and it was unreasonable. So this isn't based on a number of residents just not being happy about something. I evidenced it myself. I think it's important to recognise that their complaints are valid, and obviously having the report here helps to demonstrate that. But I feel more should have been done, particularly by the event organiser themselves and DDC in terms of discharging their responsibilities. I also think the struggle that the residents have had in terms of getting actually some visibility of their issues with DDC particularly is unreasonable. The event was in August, we're now in November. I believe there's a meeting coming up soon, hopefully with DDC, but it's far too long and they've had to really fight for that opportunity. Hopefully lessons will be learned by all concerned and make future events a success for anybody either involved or impacted by it. And then just the final point is DDC councillors who represent Sandwich, they have not driven this forward. I know that there might be some claims that has happened, but actually it's been very much down to the residents to drive this forward.
Okay, thank you for those comments. Councillor Black.
Yeah, I mean, 80 decibels is completely unacceptable standard. That's getting into aviation standards. So I can understand what the residents are saying. However, we've got to be careful that we're not completely negative with this organisation. And I've said before that we need to extend it for tourism purposes. This is a completely new market to us. We really need to do the right thing, which is say, look, you cannot do things like this and such unacceptable levels. And I fully endorse that. But we also need to extend olive branches to them, and we need to bring them into the community. And at the moment, this, understandably, is completely negative. We need to do both, I think.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, thank you for those comments. I was just going to say, Councillor Breen.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I would just ask that we take into account what they actually say in the report, which we would ask the elected members of Sandwich Town Council what measures they propose to take.
That's
So
what I was just going to speak on.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, that's
Because I
it there.
think
So thank you very much, Councillor Breen, for saying that. So basically, as you may know, and as Councillor Breen has reminded me, which I was going to say, is this matter is actually a matter for Dover District Council. So the noise pollution and the disruption to the local residents should all come under the environmental health and environmental protection side of Dover District Council, and it is their duty to look into the residents' complaints and bring them, investigate them fully, and bring them to some sort of final conclusion. So if the organisation has fallen foul of the law, then they should pay the penalty for that. Or if there's other issues that can be addressed, where, as was said by Councillor Black, perhaps negotiations could be undertaken between the residents and the actual organisation, and that could be done. But I must point out strongly that it's down to Dover District Council. Unfortunately, this council has got no powers over noise pollution or sound or any of the planning. The planning, Sandwich Town Council is just an advisory on the planning. So we can't actually decide the planning applications, and we can't follow up with them. So I noted from this report that there's a number of issues where the planning applications that have been granted haven't been completed, haven't been seen through by the organisation. Once again, that is Dover District Council's planning enforcement. Now tonight, Sandwich Town Council can propose drafting a letter to support these residents, and that can be sent to Dover District Council as an emphasis of how bad this situation is. But I would like somebody to propose what they would like to go forward, and somebody to second that option. So
I have a question. Who is going to draft this letter?
it would be the town clerk.
The town clerk, in consultation with any councillors, or?
When she's drafted it on the report, it will be distributed to the councillors,
And we will.
and then you can amend the report. But the original draft must come from the town clerk. So, Councillor Morehouse.
Could I suggest that the town clerk liaises with the environmental enforcement of Dover District Council? This is a case we can't really change history, but we can prevent this from happening again.
Indeed.
We can't, there's no point in beating up the business for what's happened in the past, but we can prevent it from happening again with a strong, firm but fair letter to the business owners.
Indeed, yeah, you'll get to see that. Councillor Mallet.
Just an observation, I totally agree with everything that's been said before, but 2 years ago, in the summer of, not this year, just one year before, the cricket club had a similar noise issue. The noise, the bands were clear all the way to Woodensborough, 2 miles. Very, very similar noise levels. I don't think there was a similar concern, potential letter from the council with regard to that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't write, but we should treat our new business similar to an existing, respected and known business.
Yeah, sure. Well, we can vote now on this. So I'm proposing a draft letter be circulated to the councillors, and you can then decide on if that draft letter is adequate or suitable electronically. So I'm proposing that. Do I have anybody to second a draft letter going in support of the residents? Councillor Morehouse. And if you're not happy with the situation, you can vote. Those that are happy with that, please vote now. But if you have any concerns, and those abstaining, please. So we've got.
Specifically, I want to note that it's because we need to also reach out to this thing. I am not objecting to the fact that 80 decibels is a complete inappropriate thing, and I think Councillor Mallett's point is equally valid.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that. Okay, and that has been passed, that a support letter will be drafted, circulated and then sent to Dover District Council. Thank you very much, councillors. Item number 21 is the draft terms of reference for committees, and members are to receive and consider draft terms of reference for the STC committees, and a decision is required on this. This is attachment number 12.
I don't think we received attachment number 12, Mr.
No,
Mayor.
I'm just looking at the attachment. Oh, right, okay, no problem. Okay, all right, super. Okay, okay then. Super. The clerk has told me, yeah, that actually wasn't available. So I'm proposing that item number 21 is deferred until our December meeting. Would anybody second that? Councillor Morehouse, I'm proposing deferral. And all those in favour? Thank you very much. And item number 22 is the Christmas light switch on committee request. And the Christmas light switch on, which I'll remind you is this coming Saturday, committee seeks permission to use the balcony overlooking the Guildhall forecourt and square for placing a snow machine and lighting for the Christmas lights event and various connection boxes. And this is attachment number 13. And the council is asked to approve the use of the balcony for Christmas lights switch on event to site their snow machine lighting and connection boxes. Would like to put forward that this is a regular occurrence every year, but if anybody has any concerns, please raise them. Councillor Wiles.
I propose we approve this.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Morehouse.
Just wanted to thank Councillor Mallet for the tremendous hard work he's put in over the past few weeks to deliver this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Councillor Black.
Yeah, I presume the answer is very obvious, but has the full risk assessment been carried out? And so I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we are engaging David Batchelor, who has the facilities and the licensing to do pat testing on the electrical equipment, who will be visiting and testing it. Now, there are limitations to what he can practically do, but he will be doing a distance observation of all the cabling. He will be running the testing through his machine that does the pat testing. And realistically, I think that is the main concern in terms of risk.
Super. Thank you very much for that. Councillor Mrs. Carter, did you have your hand up? Oh, indeed. Thank you very much for that. So all those, that's been proposed by Councillor Wiles and seconded by Councillor Mrs. Carter. All those in favour, please signify. That's unanimous then. Thank you very much. And item number 23 is the interim audit report from internal auditors Mulberry & Co. The newly appointed internal auditor Mulberry & Co. have visited the Guildhall on the 10th of November 2023 to undertake an interim period audit to consider the governance and accounts using samples where appropriate and covering the entire year to date. Members are invited to note the report, and this is attachment number 14. The recommendation is members are invited to note the interim internal auditor report from Mulberry & Co. I have personally spoken with both the town clerk and the responsible financial officer on this, and they were both very much amazed at these auditors and the job that they undertook. And they said it was a very good breath of fresh air for this council to have such fervent auditors for the job that they undertook. So it's recommended by them. Councillor Anderson.
I propose we note the report.
Thank you very much. Councillor Morehouse seconding. Yeah. Councillor Anderson proposing. Councillor Morehouse seconding. Was there a question, Councillor Breen?
Could I just make a statement? Number one, I thought the report was an excellent result for Sandwich, and I think an indication or indicative of the hard work that our responsible finance officer does. So I think we should all thank her, because it was an outstanding report. There were 4 small recommendations, one about increasing the authority level of the town clerk, which I think is practical and we should consider that. Another minor things about the frequency of the VAT returns. There's an action on us councillors to sign off the bank accounts, and I think that the RFO will bring those to us in the future. And finally, about capping the accounts, because the council is holding a lot of money, you know, a couple of £100,000 from the Maddox, that as soon as the discretionary fund is established, we should be able to invest some of that and put that to bring that requirement down.
Indeed, thank you for that. Did you make a note of the thanks to the responsible financial officer, please? And all those in favour of that? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. And item number 24 is the date of the next full council meeting, which is Monday the 18th of December.
Just make a quick point in terms of the earlier agenda item regards the IT support. It was probably a slip on your part, Mayor, but the pre-meeting was not a public meeting because the information pack was in confidence, commercial in confidence. So the minutes need to reflect that.
Thank you. Could you correct my comment saying the pre-meeting was a public meeting? When possible, thank you. And so I thereby close the meeting of Sandwich Town Council until the Monday the 18th of December 2023.